3, 2, 1. Ladies and gentlemen, we agree with yellow. We do penalize the right of people to express their freedom of speech. This is because their freedom of speech is not enough to outweigh the impact of how their opinion is going to be taken by other people. Joseph gave 2 POIs to both speakers of opposition, and their reply is absolutely abhorrent and offensive. Holocaust deniers and people bullying other people on the internet are not just expressing their opinion, they are actively demeaning the lived experiences of other people. Op cannot get away with just saying people have a right to freedom of speech and think that this is what will make them win this discussion. We have to be a bit more nuanced to that. They turn productive discussions to screaming, conspiracy theories, and random tangents of questioning legitimacy of real working eco-friendly solutions. These things do a real active harm from things which leads to people misunderstanding how climate change actually works, leads to things where investments from companies that could have been for eco-friendly things go to coal because of rich billionaires advertising it that way and telling complete lies out of the gate. It leads to defunding of eco-friendly efforts and also prevention of policies within the government as more and more people join these radicalist ideas and imagine that the world is not actually in need for these changes. Some responses to immediate previous speaker before I get to weighing on what exactly happened. There was a POI to Jared asking what benefit it does. Even if it can come on the black market and people will spread these ideologies, yes, in the far end of the spectrum, we can agree it can be done. But the majority of people in the middle ground or who are on the fence about their stances are able to second guess and doubt their actions because it's just unlikely for them to go in those places in the first place as they're no longer in the public sphere. But this allows them to be less ignorant and malicious when they think twice before going up in a public space and saying something stupid. Sure, on both sides, people can still do this, but on our side, the majority who can be spooked by litigation and breaking the law are likely to reconsider. Too long to read, if there is a law that prevents littering, sure, some people who really want can still do it, but the majority will be dissuaded, and this is the unique delta you get when criminalization exists. A lot of what DLO says was already preempted by my Prime Minister when we told you that expressing yourself is not absolute good or truth. More than that, it's not just about expressing yourself, but also putting yourself out in the public spectacle and denying an obvious truth of the world. The harm here is that young people are malleable by the trends on social media and more susceptible to misinformation. We literally solve misinformation because the fear of penalties or fine becomes an incentive structure to be less ignorant, and people are more likely to fact check. I'll take that later at 5. Verify and check their stances. Impacts regardless of people and their subjective experiences because of the criminal justice systems and the harms to their reputation and life to push them to take things more seriously. The problem with OP is that they never really explain how and why status quo measures are actually enough, nor do they cast exclusive doubt on why criminalization is so bad, and they fail to understand that there will be due processes and investigation as to what Joseph said, proportional to the severity of their offenses. If you do something small, you get a fine or penalty. But if you do something severe, like do a mass false publication, then those companies that are doing that will get arrested, jailed, or completely fined heavily and punished for what they have done. So what exactly happened here? When Joseph told me we want people to take these messages seriously and stop the malicious actors who stand in the way of stuff, their responses to saying that, oh, guys, it's not enough to criminalize. When it inflicts direct harm to someone, it has some intention to harm. We already told you that they also tell us that, oh yeah, justification is important, and malicious actors, we can question them in status quo. But we think that their responses to what we said literally is not enough. Firstly, on malicious actors, they actually don't tell us how malicious actors just completely disappear. We give them an active incentive in our side, but in their side, they're going to question them. We tell you that that is not enough because what is the likelihood for these people to actually start telling the truth? They get a lot more legal protections when they are questioned instead of actually directly criminalizing them for the false efforts that they have done completely. Now, they are also able to just focus more on true, and on our side, we're just able to focus more on true pragmatics and win in trying to actually prevent the harms of climate change. Because they don't give any other solutions than keep things as status quo. When we already told you, a status quo is filled with people shouting, it's filled with lots of movement and resistance. Now, I'll take your POI. Go.
Okay, so if you're going to criminalize every single person who's having malicious intent, then surely you should also criminalize this rap because it's intentionally bullying someone and now it's being widespread and it's also being commercialized.
A diss track, like, I don't know, I feel like a diss track's like usually really vague and it's like, most of them are like for show thing, like both of them actually are fighting each other and it's like boxing fights, like, do you want boxing to be completely gone? Alright, let's just actually weigh things. Likelihood to actually happen. The likelihood for money is to go to the right places is just more likely to be happen in our side as big companies are no longer allowed to lie to the extent that they can today and normal people are just less likely to fall for lies and spread and these punishments and hatred. We lessen the amount of lies that are going on because of these fears that we give, and in our world we actually prevent these problems and think it's worth it to sacrifice some level of whatever they think as free justice, even in the worst case saying that, oh, it infringes on their free speech, then yeah, at the very least, in our side, we actually get progress to be done. We get the levers of changes for policies and economic investments for eco-friendly things to happen more. In our worst case, it's arresting people that are, it's finding people that are innocent and having, but at the very least, these ideologies for the average population is skirmish and gone. While in their worst case, it's literally shifting investments, ideas, and the general population to the wrong ideas, preventing the proper levels of change to be actually hitting, and this is more likely to happen in their side because that's happening right now in our world, and there's no new change happening in their side. In our best case, we are able to protect the future population and prevent what actually happens within climate change. We actually are able to do something about it and stop the biggest problem that they mentioned, misinformation, by making people afraid of actually going to the wrong sources and skirmishing people that are actively trying to ruin this. Now, and never we have been more proud to propose this debate. Thank you.